Ashraf, which they've been at for 25 years, many of them, and they want to be moved to this Camp Liberty, which is going to be a tiny little part of a otherwise very large camp, but just a tiny little part where they're going to have a few square feet to live in, where there's going to be no guarantee of access to lawyers, where there's no understanding, in fact, maybe the wrong understanding about who's going to be responsible for it. Looks like the Iraqi police will be guarding them and the UN will be outside. And the UN has to step in and has to play a meaningful role here. Whatever, we'll talk about designation, and everybody else will, and we'll talk about some of the recent rumors, but whatever the truth or falsity of all of those other things, the lives of 3,300 human beings who were promised safety and security, who are entitled to it under every convention known to civilized society, their rights are now in jeopardy. And the United States of America and the UN, and particularly the United States, should be in a leadership role, yelling and screaming and pounding the table about this. Of course, we have to look at the bigger picture, too. They would like to see the overthrow of the Ayatollah and of Ahmadinejad. Okay. Then they also stand for a non-nuclear Iran. Iran without a nuclear weapon. Then they stand for a secular Iran. And the organization is headed by a woman. My goodness, what a great symbolism for the Middle East. Let me just briefly tell you what I think the solution is. Solution number one is there must be a clear understanding that Iran cannot become a nuclear power. Anybody helping us prevent Iran from becoming a nuclear power is a friend of the United States, a friend of peace, a friend of freedom, and a friend of democracy. If you are going to continue with Camp Ashraf, then I implore our State Department to put pressure on the United Nations and on our ally, the government of Iraq, to allow 2 or 3 of us. They can pick anybody they want, 2, 3, or 4 of us, and the many others who are on our side, to go take a look at it and then certify that it's a reasonable, sensible place or that it's a prison camp. We're willing to take the trip anytime.
And as you've heard, the only other country that classifies MEK as a terrorist organization is Iran. The Iraqis, who act simply as pawns of Iran, have justified their cruel treatment of the residents of Ashraf and their insistence that the camp be closed by pointing to the terrorist designation that was imposed by the State Department. The State Department has purposely dragged its heels for more than a year and a half since that ruling and told the Ashraf residents that they must trust the efforts of the United States and of the United Nations to resettle them. Now, some have described Camp Liberty, even some here, where the State Department has urged the residents of Ashraf to go. Some have described it as a prison. Well, I have to tell you, I resent that description because when I served as Attorney General, one of my responsibilities was to supervise the U.S. Bureau of Prisons. And I will tell you that a prison, as tough a place as it is at least a place where both the prisoners and the guards are bound by rules. A prison is a place where we send people as punishment, not for punishment. But there's another kind of place to which Camp Liberty might be compared, a place where even the ironic name Camp Liberty makes you remember it, and that is a concentration camp, a place where people are sent to be broken in body and broken in spirit. I think what we've come here this morning to say is that the people in this room and others who are not in this room do not intend to stand and do nothing. We've been heard in the past, and we intend to continue to be heard until the residents of Ashraf, the members of MEK, and all Iranians can remove the current regime and return their country to the glorious civilization that it once was and that it will be again. Thank you very much.